Hi everyone, welcome to Dave's World. So what we're talking about today is gauge pods. Basically, Cruze Missile's been parked for the last 8 months or so because I was figuring out how to get a Tesla radio in the car, make the Tesla radio work with everything in the car. Here's some footage of the Tesla style radio working in the car. This thing was a huge undertaking. It took me months to figure it out, and I had my friend Ron help me out. He was a really cool guy, but we got it working, and it's a really cool interface. Here's some footage of my customer actually using the same radio that was in my car on his car to control his air ride. It's a really badass radio, and I can't wait for people to start getting these in their car. And then I was prototyping engine covers and gauge pods. Actually, let me show you the engine cover real quick. There might be a chipmunk living under the hood. Yeah, so this is the engine cover that I came out with. You can get this in about 7 different colors. You can get it for the Malibu and the Equinox. It is missing one of the mounting nuts because I took it off to match it up with something, but the engine cover is badass, and I can't wait for more people to get these things. And the cool thing is the engine cover can be matched with anything else you get. I could even do the hood struts in red. I could do the PCV reroute with the catch can in red. This is the new version. It's called the V3. And then under here is my wastegate, but I'm thinking about doing another cover that shows off the wastegate so you can see the custom wastegates. But this is a really cool product. So since Cruze Missile's been sitting, I'm getting tired of it sitting, so I want to go back to using this every day. And I'm trying to get to the tail end of all the things I've been working on. So I've been prototyping a lot of parts. The cool thing is I now have cool gauge pods. So you can get these gauge pods in custom colors now. So this one is my my satin black color. Or I'm sorry, it's a semi-gloss. So this one could be semi-gloss. We can do like a satin color, which is like a flat black. Actually, you can get them in pretty much any color you want. While I'm talking, I'll throw some samples up, but it's pretty much like red, green, orange, blue. I mean, pretty much anything. But I also want to show you the different locations you can get gauges in. So this gauge pod would go up here, and you'd be able to see your gauges pretty much next to your gauge cluster. These are what's known as column pods. So this, you could put, well, I put these gauges in just to show everybody what it would look like, but I thought this was a really cool setup. So this would be for somebody who's maybe a race track driver, or you want something like in your face and you need to watch something very closely and maybe check your speeds and stuff. So you could watch your speedometer in the middle and then check your 2 important gauges that you add. And the cool thing is the area on the bigger gauges, it doesn't block anything really important. I mean, you can start seeing at about 20 miles an hour from your seat view. And you can pretty much see your RPMs are usually no more than 6 anyway. And then the one I like the most is actually down here. This is probably where I'm either gonna use the dual pod that's up here. I don't want to pop this in because this is a customer's pod, or I'm gonna be using the ones down here because I like how it's kind of like dashboard's nice and clean and I have extra gauges there. This and this is my favorite, but I really do love these dual ones. Now these do come with a textured finish. This is pretty much an example of the textured finish that'll be on there. So I have them cheaper for everybody, so that you can get them in this textured finish and it'll be a little cheaper. Or what I can do is for an extra little bit, I'll redo these in custom coatings. So I thought these gauge pods were a really cool product to bring to the Gen 2 community, and I also have them for the Gen 1 community, which is nice. So you can get them for the Gen 1, you can get the dual pod for the dashboard, and then I'm also working on some other spots for the Gen 1, like the steering column gauges. These are now available at supercruzes.com. Pretty much if you use ultimateecotex.com or supercruzes.com, it'll bring you right to the Super Cruises store, and everything's itemized now by car. So if you go in and you're looking for a Gen 2 gauge pod, you just go into the Gen 2 section, it'll be right in there. Same thing for Gen 1. The Gen 1 has a couple cool samples in there, and then I'm working on like the Malibu, the Vanderhall, and the Trax and the Equinox. So you guys will have a lot of really cool stuff like this coming. So the engine covers are available now for the Equinox, Malibu, and the Cruze. I have confirmed installs. I'm working on the 2.0 version, and I'm working on Gen 1s also. So I just want to let everybody know what's going on, because the only people that knew about these prototypes are the members of the YouTube channel, but I wanted to start making certain things public to people so that way you know they actually exist. And the really cool thing about these gauge pods, let me show you real quick, is most of the gauge pods on the market only fit modern short gauges. So these gauge pods, see, this is like a modern short gauge and they get even shorter than this, but these gauge pods are designed to also house the larger electric gauges, so you don't have to worry about fitment. Pretty much any gauge fits. And I also have them I also designed the gauge pods to be a little looser because all you have to do is put a rubber band around it and then put it back in and it tightens up the slack. I wanted the pods to be a tiny bit looser because if the pod's too tight, then you have to take a Dremel and Dremel it out. If they're a little looser, all you have to do is put a rubber band around your gauge, slide it in, and you're done. Most gauges that you buy already have like an adapter, so you just wrap it around it and it goes in. It's much easier to fit them in when they're a little bit looser than it is when they're tighter, so that's why I did that. I can make them tighter if you want. If you want them even tighter, let me know. These are custom. In fact, on the steering column pod, we could put a third one in. Down here, we can make these a little wider if you wanted, and actually, if you really wanted to, we can have a triple dashboard pod. So there's a lot of cool things we can do with these gauge pods. I also have a pillar pod. So the pillar pod is something that I sort of abandoned. That's why there's actually tape up here. The pillar pod is something that I abandoned because I didn't like the idea of an airbag shooting your gauges into your face, and a lot of people just crudely screw like a gauge pod right onto here that's like universal and it looks like crap. I don't like anything to do with up there. That's why I chose down here. So for example, if you put a dual pod up here on the dashboard and the airbag goes off, this is going to squish down this way. The airbag's up here, like it pretty much comes this way. So if you have gauges up here, you're going to shoot your gauges in your face. So that's one of the reasons why I don't do that. So all right, so thanks again, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed these. Please comment below if you want some other pod. Like I'm working on one that goes up on the dashboard, and I have a couple other areas where I'm working too. So I even thought it would be cool to put something up here, which is another idea. Like anybody who has light bars and stuff, you pretty much like using this area anyway, so we could put a gauge pod up here. So thanks again for supporting Dave's World. I really appreciate it, and I have a lot of really cool stuff coming out.